start right there.
I'm winning.
He is winning.
It's not about size, it's what you do.
Its size doesn't matter here.
No, exactly.
No, but that is the coolest.
Start talking, guys.
Go ahead.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the training that you did in preparation for this role and what that sort of demanded of you?
Well, I started to train a couple months before we began shooting, and that involved working out in a gym, which I had never done before, for about 2 hours a day, and just basically having muscle definition and more strength, especially in my core, which is very important. You do martial arts training, and I did martial arts training. I did different styles, and I basically worked on a style that Jeff Amada, the stunt coordinator, had designed specifically for Hanna, and for the type of fights that we'd be doing, which were kind of martial arts meets street fighting. So that was fantastic. It was a great way to focus, actually, and I felt quite grounded, and it was good preparation for me too. I feel like with this character we worked from the outside in. We worked on her physicality and her look, and then the part of the character started to develop. And she became a weird misfit, like a fairy tale princess almost.
They've said that a lot, and can you talk a little bit about what you mean by that? By what kind of a fairy tale is it? What's the archetype or the trajectory?
It's a messed up fairy tale. It's a true Grimm's fairy tale, which is something that she's grown up with. The only 2 books that she's ever had have been an encyclopedia and a Grimm's fairy tale, and for her that is the world, and that influences her opinion and outlook on life and people and everything. And the structure of the story is like a fairy tale too. She's someone who has lived in a certain place her whole life and never really experienced normal life, and now she's sent on this mission, and that's not really a fairy tale, but she's introduced to beauty and ugliness and judgment and evil and bad people and good people and all these different things. And as an actor, that was fantastic to play, because you're basically playing a young child, someone whose mind is completely clean and pure, and that was fun.
Is that what drew you to the part?
Not really, because I didn't expect her to be that way. I didn't think she was going to be that way. I thought, okay, this is a girl who kicks ass, and that was kind of it. But then she started to develop, and all these new layers started becoming really essential for the character and the story.
How long was the shoot?
The shoot was about 3 months, I think.
So it was quite long.
Yeah, it was long enough, we started off in Finland, which was freezing cold. It was about minus 30 degrees at one stage. And we went all around Germany. We went to Berlin, which is a wonderful city, and Morocco as well. So there was a lot of contrast there.
This is the second time you've worked with Joe, but obviously this is a much different film than Atonement. So how much did his directing style and your interaction with him change between the two?
His directing style was still the same. I think he's a bit braver now, and I think he's actually grown up a little bit as well as me. I could definitely see a difference in myself personally, and just the way I work when I went onto Hanna, because this was the first time I had worked with someone from the past again. So it was a reminder of what we had gone through. But he's very artistic and has quite a beautiful imagination, actually. And with this film, for both of us, because it is kind of like a fairy tale and a bit surreal. It freed us up to try different things and be a bit weirder than we probably could have on something like Atonement.
So,
Was it a big challenge for him to pitch the character and the story to you?
No, because I hired him.
Oh yeah.
I actually came onto the project before him, and I can't believe I just said that. But I came onto the project before him, and they didn't have a director at the time. So the first person, I don't know why, because he's never done action before, but the first person that popped into my head was a man called Joe Wright. And I told John Knight from Focus Woman, you should ring him. And so he did, and Joe agreed to do it. And then he rang me up a few days later and told me to get my arse in the gym.
this is actually, you're also doing Violent Daisy, which is also a film about a young girl. What attracts, I mean, was doing Hanna something that kind of excited you about that kind of part, that basically influenced you when you decided to take that role?
No, not really. I decided to do Violet and Daisy and Hanna at the same time. So I did Violet and Daisy maybe 4 months after I had completed Hanna. And it didn't, I mean, doing Hanna didn't really excite me or encourage me to do more action. But it certainly let me know that I could do it if someone offered it to me, or if I wanted to do something like that. It was fun for me to do, and maybe not straight away, but I would like to do something like that again. Violet and Daisy, on the other hand, that's a black comedy and not an action film at all. Daisy, my character, holds a gun, and that's about the only similarity that the two have, which is great. You know, everyone thinks that they're going to be these kick-ass girls, but, well, neither of them are really.
I mean, do you think because this isn't a kind of studio film, because it's like an independent sort of co-production, do you think that, you know, it gives it a very different feel than if it was, you know, like a